Wow.
What didn't happen? Wait, hold on. Wait. Okay. That should have worked better, but it didn't. It's okay that it didn't. Welcome to Generation Movie on a Monday night. Normally, my name is JW Colwell. This is Rich Drees. Normally, we do a deep dive on a classic film, celebrating Hollywood's past. But it's been a remarkably big weekend for news in the movie industry. So, and we usually devote almost at least 25 minutes to our show, but there are so many things that we can talk about this week that we have decided to make this a very special, like a after school special, a very special episode of Generation Movie, where we're going to do all news and talk our reactions to things, because I'm sure Rich has had people, what do you think of this? Or how do you think this is going to work? Or
because I even have a few pieces that have gone up over the last several days about things.
So it's one of those things where we usually do
the big story that we're going to talk about tonight. Literally, we just posted 35 minutes ago a very good analysis by my friend Bill Gadavaskis, who is our comic book film editor.
He had a very pointed argument. It's a very pointed argument. It's
I know he had been talking to you about it offline too. So
we're chit chatting. It's a very pointed argument. But I think part of it. Well, we'll talk about it. I think part of it is going to play into that. It's going to at least play into it for the characters, not the audience. The audience already knows, right? But I think it's something where it's something that the characters have yet to experience. So anyway. We are going to talk about all of those cool things. We're also going to talk about, we're not going to talk about production tonight. We're not going to talk about box office or critical reaction then and now, or, the things that are left after these things hit. So we're only going to talk about our reactions and our visceral feeling to the news this weekend, because it was, Rich, one of the most interesting weekends, I think, in a while, right? We like, at the beginning of the summer, you and I talked a couple times about the idea that this is it. Theaters are in trouble. This summer is going to be rough. And all you need is one or two or three or four or five movies to hit. And then all of those troubles go away.
It certainly feels like it's more like a trend instead of one or two anomalies at this point in terms of overall box office. Now, whether Deadpool and Wolverine doing the insane numbers that it did this weekend, Marvel's back, or if it's just kind of a bit of a blip on the up and down scale that it feels like we've been on with Marvel for a little while, that has yet to be seen. We still have the new Captain America film in November, and then after that, Thunderbolts next February.
Right.
So, we kind of need to see how this is all rolling along in the larger picture, I think, before we can say Marvel's back on course. But this one was very
in that regard, you can call Deadpool. This box office is, they're still checking the estimates. There was a Variety article up about 20 minutes ago, actually about 8 o'clock. Deadpool and Wolverine scores mightier than expected $211 million debut. Sixth biggest debut in box office history.
True.
Ticket sales were above Saturday's record-breaking estimate of 205, which already stood as the biggest opening weekend of the year, and the largest ever for an R-rated film.
And I know for our friends from your other show, Loud and Nerdy, they were doing a box office prediction thing during last week's show, and in the Loud and Nerdy group, they posted who had guessed what, and they claimed me as the winner for saying 200 million. Price is Right rules, closest without going over.
I had 190. It was fine.
Actually, Jerry Kimura guessed 211 million. So I will gladly relinquish my crown to Jerry. Congratulations, my friend.
Oh, he did the 211 because somebody did 210.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
At 210. So
that's amazing. The 211.
Adding just $1.
Being the $1 dick move. That's incredible. Okay, so movies it's on par with, think like it's obviously not on par with. First up, 444.3 globally. So it's 50 million from $500 million already. Avengers Endgame had 357, No Way Home had 260, Infinity War 257, The Force Awakens had 247, Last Jedi had 220. All of those movies crossed $1 billion, no problem.
This would be the only the second movie ever, R-rated movie ever to cross $1 billion, though, after Joker.
Yeah, it was after Joker.
It's exciting.
It's and Joker's at 1.07 billion globally. So it's what, $700,000 over $1 billion, which is interesting. So it's an R-rated movie. It's doing gangbusters. I will say, I'm not gonna lie to you, Rich. When I went to the movies this weekend and saw all the kids, I was like, okay, kids. But the parents brought them. That's on them. The car ride home. What daddy? What's pegging? Has got to be one of the great questions of the weekend. Heard 1,000 times in car rides all over the country. But I think the thing about this movie, and you and I talked about it when we did our review on Friday, a lot of heart, a lot of emotion for the pre-Tony Stark, MCU.
I mean, okay. I know in the comments already, somebody asked if we can refrain from spoilers.
We're not. We made a deal last Friday. Okay, a couple things. Let's say hi to everybody. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm looking forward to tonight's episode. Hey, Joe Ridgely. Hello, Jamie Hill. Thank you for joining us. We know you're super busy with all the movies you're in, and thank you for showing up and listening to us. Good evening on the glorious post-Comic-Con Deadpool weekend. No spoilers for the movie. Please sing it Thursday. Thursday is actually the day we're allowed to talk about things. Okay, so you're safe. We made a rule. Thursday, 1 week. Give everybody 1 week. And after 1 week, it's everywhere anyway. Raven, Comic-Con was amazing. So much news. That's what we're going to get to tonight. Good evening, friends. Good evening, Ken McKernan.
Hi again.
Black. Let's get over this marvelous diagram. Even their on bombs are better than half the studios. Yes, I've been saying that for a while. I've been saying it's real hard to call the Marvels a bomb when it grosses $450 million. Most studios would be like, can I crawl over broken glass to get your box office receipts?
True.
But I understand versus
the cost of Marvels was probably a little higher than most normal studio films. So I can see where that, it doesn't quite even out, but still, in the big game, Marvel is up, what? The MCU just crossed $30 billion at the box office. So it's hard to, say.
They appear to be doing something right, Rich. 211 gross, 444. That's what we're saying. Good. Thank you, Ken. Always on top of it. I think the interesting thing is for Deadpool, the other side of it, right? This is the third Deadpool movie, and this is something that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. This is the highest grossing R-rated franchise ever. Like, by a lot. By a lot of money, because he's going to be this one's going to hit $1 billion. The other two were over 500 million, right? So you're looking at almost $2 billion just for the red one alone. And so he's got it. Reynolds has got to have credit. Reynolds is also, we talked about this, spoiler free. And again, we'll keep it till Thursday, but Reynolds has also got to, I don't know Ryan Reynolds, Rich, and you don't know him either. But the humility of this guy, he seems like an awfully nice fella. For the
I could
things,
see enjoying a glass of aviation gin with him while just chatting about stuff.
I mean the humility, the things he is doing, where artists are jumping at the bit to work with him, and I'm not like it's all throughout his life, right? It's the
Yes.
gin and the soccer team and the movies and all these other things. I think he's doing something right, and this particular character, which he literally saved from the scrap heap that was Wolverine Origins. Where he said, "Things could be better with this character. How about I make a test reel? You know what I mean? You posted on, I think, was it Threads? 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago to the day, it was like he made the test reel and sent it out and said, I think there's something here.
Saturday, I think it was the actual 10th anniversary of the Deadpool test footage that they had done for Fox as proof of concept. And Fox was just like, we don't want to make this movie after all this. That 10 years ago, that movie, that footage leaked onto the internet by someone. Maybe it was Ryan Reynolds. Maybe it wasn't. Who knows? But
whoever it was,
started
significantly richer today.
Mm-hmm.
Significantly, whoever leaked it is significantly richer today.
I hope so. I really do. And Fox tried to play whack-a-mole with it for a couple of weeks, and then finally they just kind of gave up and said, you know what? Maybe there is something to this.
Go make the movie.
And they made the original for what, $40 million?
It was cheap.
I want to say it was really inexpensive, and it was a monster hit. And here we are. 10 years later now.
Well, and the thing is, I think the remarkable idea that you're basically going to be the guy that saves a something that and the thing is, he felt it. You know what I mean? It was just something he felt, and he kind of ran with it, and just now it's like for the record books, and it's one of those things where it's the guess, the artist. Every once in a while we come across movies or something we talk about on the show where somebody makes a guess, right? Somebody says, hey, I was totally wrong, by the way. I'm looking at numbers right now. Deadpool worldwide gross 781, Deadpool 2 worldwide gross 786, and here we are 4 days in, Deadpool and Wolverine gross 444 worldwide.
Yes, so over half of either of the previous movies' grosses in just the first weekend.
Budget on the first one was 58.
58, okay.
So the worldwide box office 13 times the production budget. Not bad.
No.
Not a bad investment. Not a bad investment, kids. Don't try this stuff at home.
Certainly the most lucrative of the I guess
of the X-Men,
so.
of the X-Men movies, yeah. It's gotta be.
Of Fox's X-Men's franchise. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. He's the one that came in last and kind of just ran with it and kind of made now I want to look at numbers really quick on Deadpool 2, just because they both grossed around the same worldwide. They kind of just petered out the 786 mark. Petered out, by the way, is not really what you want to say about 786. A production budget for Deadpool 2 was 110, so only seven times the production budget for that one. Interesting, really interesting, actually. What's the budget? Deadpool and Wolverine budget is, we don't have a budget yet. We do not have a budget on the movie yet. But my guess is going to be that Jackman and Reynolds said, you know what, guys, we're going to be kind on this one. We're going to take it very low up front. and we're going to take some back end profits. I would be very surprised if that's not the case. Some more comments. Let's see. Raven says, hold on. Missy is taking me, so I have some FOMO, although I had most cameras ruined by a jerk who sent me pictures on the screen on Friday night. Oh, that person, Missy, Raven, who's the person? We'll badmouth him right now for you. Put his name, put his name in the comments. We'll talk down on him.
Name and shame. No, on something big like this, that's, honestly, whoever it is a jerk move.
Bad. It's bad
starting yesterday, I started to see stuff on like Twitter where people were just, filming a short little segment of something happening and then, throwing it up on Twitter. And I'm like, guys, come on. First of all,
we're not even through the weekend. Like, fucking relax.
You're spoiling it for others. And that's really big copyright infringement you're doing there, fuckers. So,
I enjoy Ken is from Canada. He writes, I enjoy the fact both main characters are Canadian. Deadpool, Regina, Saskatchewan, and Wolverine, Northern Alberta, Canada. Enjoy that, Ken. Ken's Canadian. We like Ken. That's why Ken is so nice. Ken's always so nice in the comments, and he always puts up news stories for us before I get a chance to. A new one is $200 million budget, but that's okay. They don't care. They don't care because there's so much goodwill is coming out of this movie that it doesn't matter. And that's the thing.
I was about to say my grandmother is from Ontario. So
nice. There you go.
Fellow Canuck there.
You both look great. JW, you're thinning out, brother, and looking amazing. Thanks. It's weird. I only have a double chin now. It used to be a triple. It's weird. I'm not gonna lie to you. I looked at my neck the one day. I was like, where'd my other little friend go? And then it was gone.
So sad.
I'm down 80. I'm down 80 pounds. So we'll see what happens. I'll drink to that too. Rich.
Cheers, I have my Nelson and Murdoch attorneys at law coffee mug today. So
fantastic. I think the thing about it is the sheer goodwill created by the movie. Now, let's get into a little bit. Yes, it's vulgar. Yes, it's violent. It's R-rated. Grow the fuck up. That's where we're at.
Yep.
That's
Another thing I saw, I don't know if you saw this making the rounds on some of the social medias. Somebody had posted this video of themselves and their husband absolutely scandalized at the content of this movie, and that they had walked out after 30 minutes because they were just so shocked. And I'm like, look, lady, this is the third movie in the series. You have two movies that will pretty much give you an idea of what it's about. And even if you don't know, you have an R rating, which on the posters pretty much gives you what it's an R rating for. And they were like,
look, I think
we were so obsessed, we walked out and didn't even ask the manager for our money back. And I thought to myself, lady, if I'd been the manager of that theater, you walked up to me and said, I am objecting to the content of this movie and I want my money back, I would have laughed in your face. Because
I would have been, okay, so the rule,
some amount of personal responsibility.
From a theater manager perspective, the rule is, how much of the movie did you watch? You said 30 minutes? That's too much. 30 minutes is too much. Like, I'll be honest with you, we used to have people come out all the time, and like 30 minutes in, it's like you're pretty much sick of a seat for 30 minutes, kids. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't know, but I think
if you prorate it, that's a quarter of the movie. Okay, here's $250 back.
I think you are going to see some, and we have a couple of friends in the network who have, the sky is falling. This is what we get. This is what we deserve. It's a vulgar movie for a vulgar version of our world or whatever it is. I think, for the most part, if you're an adult, you don't go and you're not having fun. That's on you. Also, I think, a vast working knowledge of pre-MCU before Tony Stark Marvel movies it's nice. It's nice if you were their opening day when X-Men opened, or their opening day when X2 opened, or any number of movies that you went to see that you were just it's a love letter to them. And so
Yeah.
if you don't have an investment, like, I can understand not liking it, but I think the other side of it is it's having so much there's so much joy in it with the jokes and with especially the credit sequence, which is spectacular. And it's so much stuff.
I could see stuff like that credit sequence not being some people's cup of tea. But like I said, there's more than enough information out there for you as a consumer to make an educated guess or an educated decision as to, will I like this or not? It's like, hey, I've gone to this restaurant twice before and they've punched me in the face. I'm mad that I'm going to this restaurant and getting punched in the face for the third time. It just, it's just
speaking of getting punched in the face, I should do this before Joe yells at me. If you're enjoying the show tonight, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Indie Escape Network. All of our stuff is there. If you do not like YouTube, you want to go Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Facebook Indie Escape. All good things on those two places for us, and we have some other places we're working on right now. There's also some very big things coming up. We had a big meeting last week. Anyway, I can't talk about it yet. Let's see. Can't put the name. It's family, but I totally cursed them out. I literally asked them not to, and they Snapchatted it during the actual movie. Ugh. Yeah, I'd erase them.
Then they get a really crappy Christmas gift this year.
Yeah, they get nothing. They get a bag of coal.
An elaborately wrapped box of
No. Just a picture, a Snapchat picture of coal.
Even better.
Turn it on in his ear. A lag via Facebook. Why YouTube is horrid. Sorry. Go to Facebook then. Sorry. My girlfriend's from Canada. Congrats, JW. You're kicking ass.
Hold on. Before we go any further, I want to congratulate Raven for that wonderful Avenue Q reference. It's a wonderful play.
That's great.
Twice on Broadway.
Laugh out loud. The Blasphemy of God couple. Yes. But here's the thing. It's an R-rated movie. Like like if you go to an R-rated movie, how many fucks are we up to? We're allowed to have what? At least anything more than twice, where it is an actual act. Correct? I believe that's the still the go-to for our wonderful MPA, our 12 people in a room who don't like sex but violence a-okay.
Yep.
Madison was overreacting. I didn't say his name. Joe. I was just it's the third Deadpool movie. It took you to the third Deadpool movie to be offended. I'm confused. I think maybe, the God couple, as it's being referred to, I think maybe the pegging thing maybe hit too close to home.
I mean, it's the first one has a big pegging joke in it too. To the point where you can say to just about anybody who's seen the movies, International Women's Day, they know what you're referencing.
God bless you, Raven. Subscribe and play both of them. Double viewing the benefits. Boost those numbers.
That's a fan right there. Are the rest of you fans?
She's a great gal. Raven's a great gal. I miss Raven. She's back in Pennsylvania. Okay, so Deadpool doing well is one of the big stories of the weekend. The rumors of Marvel's demise also greatly exaggerated, because I think one of the things coming out of this movie that you feel Rich, why he feels charged. Supercharged, as a matter.
I think so. And I understand that they have every reason to be excited. But does that carry over to Captain America: Brave New World? Not a whole lot of about that movie out of the Marvel panel, and we'll get to that. I do want to say one thing though. The box office was not that surprising to me, because you go to your local Cinemark 20 screen Cineplex, and it's on at least 10 screens. It's
At least.
Marvel and Disney really leveraged their power to get this movie on as many screens as possible, and which is good because they're all selling out. They really knew what they had. I feel a little bad because a lot of smaller movies were crowded right out of theaters. And it's a little frustrating because, you know, I love all movies. I mean, I love my big blockbusters like this, but, you know, if I wanted to, you know, catch something else this weekend, like DD was opening, maybe a Bollywood film or something else, or a documentary that was getting, you know, a couple of hundred screens as of 2 weeks ago, they're, you know, kind of like just pushed right out. So it kind of, on a temporary level, fortunately, did decrease the overall variety of what we had available to us.
It
but
did.
Overall, I think this kind of box office is good for Marvel. It's good for the business. It's good for theaters who, you know, are very cash strapped. I mean, we talked a little bit on Friday about disappointment over the very small number of popcorn buckets collectible popcorn buckets that they were putting out.
Well, on a positive note, like we were
looking at online, and you know, those numbers are starting to creep up towards $100 a pop again.
Yeah, again. On a positive note, though, you know, we talk about like Twisters is another movie that's doing shockingly well. That we talked about on Loud Nerdy about the idea of Twisters kind of being a cool, like under the radar 90s movie kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Twisters only dropped 57%, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a lot less than I thought it was going to drop. I figured it
only dropped 57%, and it, you know, so it earned 34 million. Despicable Me earned 14. So, but what I will say, the most interesting thing there is, we talked early in the summer, Inside Out 2 came out. It dropped the percentage that the summer was behind from 25 to 22%. Then Despicable Me came out, and then it dropped from 22% to 16%. Right? The amount of money that we're behind from last summer.
Mm-hmm.
I am dying to see the numbers now, kids. It's got to be in single digits. That they're only off because, again, Twisters was a surprise hit, way bigger than anybody anticipated. And this is something we talk about on this show. Going to the movies is a learned activity. It is a trait that gets easier if you go and you have a blast and you come out of the movie and you go, what's opening next week? Walk around, look at the posters, figure out what, if I'm going to go see something next week. What movie catches your eye in a trailer that somehow all of a sudden, although at a later date, you and I are going to have a long conversation at some point on a show about who's cutting these trailers, because I want to smack somebody. I am okay. Like, the first trailer for every movie is really great, and I go, okay, I want to see that. Or not my cup of tea or whatever. But we were in this phase where we're doing 3 trailers for things, and there's one trailer, and then there's a second trailer, and there's a third trailer called it's like teaser, trailer, final trailer, right? Is the new thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I don't need it. I'm going to tell you right now. I'll give you an example. I was at a Deadpool screening, saw a trailer for Alien Romulus. It's an R-rated red band trailer, so people are cursing in the trailer. I would have loved to experience as somebody going, there's something in the fucking water when I first saw the movie, but I'm not going to get to do that now. Also, I would have not wanted to know that there are pulse rifles in the movie. I hadn't seen them up until this point. There's a sequence in the new R-rated red band trailer, the final trailer, that gives that all away. Stop doing it.
I think that new trailer did give. I think it gave too much.
It's a new trend. I think people were on board already. I think people were on board with the second trailer, the regular trailer where they did the old in space, no one can hear you scream. and they just had a quick cut edit of all the people in the movie at various points screaming with no sound. It was great, and it had the essence of an alien movie to me. It felt like an alien movie, and I've been disappointed for a while, since '86 to be exact. Just letting everybody know, I was 12 the last time there was a good aliens movie. Let's see. Joe said, "I like this Raven." Yes, everybody should. She's a great guy. I think they said a good chunk of news for D23, even the bigger announcement. They didn't cover any of the Disney Plus shows, and Agatha is going to be big for sure. Agatha is going to be big because I think it's coming out at the perfect time, right? Well, late September, so 6 or 8 episodes running through October and Halloween month should be perfect.
I think I mean we'll get to more of what Marvel did do in their panel in a little bit.
Soon.
But going into this weekend, I think it was kind of understood that Marvel was only going to be doing movies here and saving TV stuff for D23. Whether they're holding off a few other movie announcements to make at D23 as well, I'm hoping so. Simply because there's in their schedule, they still have 3 dates that they've staked out for as unannounced,
unannounced.
2 before Avengers, Doomsday. I'm still trying to get used to saying that instead of Avengers 5, and then 1 between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret War.
Wait a second. You mean the Kang Dynasty movie that's no longer going to be found?
Kang who?
This movie?
We'll get to that. We will get to that. I think
I got pictures. So I think, Marvel, Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, and that's the other thing, Rich, out of Deadpool and Wolverine. Anytime he wants to come back, right? Like anytime he says, "I'm gonna go on a crash diet and fix my abs," he can come back, right? I mean, that's the key. And I think the movie is a resounding success in the sense that it's just a love letter, and I think that's why people are gravitating towards it. I think that's why everybody's kind of in love with it at the moment.
Yes.
But let's get to other news. So, what do you want to start with? You go first. You pick. We'll talk.
Okay. Wow. I want to I want to hold off on Star Trek, I guess, a little bit. The Star Trek Universe panel, but
we're 34 minutes in. Don't hold. Go. Go. This is what we do. We should hold off. No. Just
I was thinking of building because ultimately it's Star Trek, and then I have a great segue between that and Marvel. But
I like
there
how
was
you're
some
setting up segues. That's
other
good.
fun stuff announced this weekend. You're a Doctor Who fan. They finally confirmed the rumor that the first spinoff of the new era is going into production in just like a month, and it's going to be called The War Between the Land and the Sea. And if you're an old school Doctor Who fan, might be happy to hear that the sea is going to be represented by the Sea Devils, a classic era Doctor Who monster. And this new 5-part miniseries is going to involve UNIT. So Gemma Redgrave is coming back as Kate Stewart. The actor who plays what everybody else is called Colonel Sexy from the last couple of episodes that we saw of this past season. He's coming back. We've got a couple new characters coming in. I'm excited because I always like the idea that the Doctor isn't necessarily around all the time the Earth needs saving. And so I like seeing when we have competent humans show up to kick monsters' ass. I like the idea that in Doctor Who this past season or so, we're starting to see
what was the show? Wait, I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt you, but what was the show? What was the show that was a Doctor Who spinoff?
Torchwood.
That's what it was. Okay, thank God. I couldn't remember it. But
Yeah.
I love it.
Not
I
sure,
love that show. That show
we're
I
not
thought,
sure if they exist in this version of Doctor Who anymore. Which is funny because I wrote something earlier today and put it up at FilmBuff Online where Russell T Davies, the creator of Doctor Who, had said he doesn't want to declare what is canon and isn't canon anymore because the show has like 60 years of history. So he basically said, canon is whatever you want. It's for you. And so you can go, I like these audio dramas. I'm going to make that my headcanon that those happened. I didn't like, this story seems to be contradicted by 9 other things, but I still like this story. So I'm going to bring it in.
Wow, does this Russell T Davies, does he know anything about Star Wars fans and how that doesn't work?
Well, no,
does that doesn't work for any of them? Like they will fight about everything.
And I said that. I said, like, look, given the time traveling nature of Doctor Who and all the timey-wimey nonsense that goes on, you can have a series that over 60 years gave us 3 absolutely definitive and very different reasons why Atlantis sunk under the ocean. Okay.
Okay. So Raven is our Doctor Who expert. Raven's getting a lot of play this episode. She wrote, but Martha is not in it, and Alonzo is casted, but it's not him either, as is his actor who played Tino Jones. But unit rock. So yeah, thanks for the doctor.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That the one of the new actresses cast for this did appear in Doctor Who before as companion Martha's cousin, I believe. But Doctor Who has a long reputation for reusing actors in different roles over its history. England's, Great Britain's a small island, so there's only so many people that are available to play these characters. Obviously Colin Baker is one of the first big examples. Oh, sister, I'm sorry, Raven, not cousin. I was thinking of Martha played her own cousin in Doctor Who because she showed up.
Raven out nerding the nerds.
Mm-hmm.
God love
Amy and Peter Capaldi are also good examples.
Is a big example. Good job. Raven has a great comment. But we're not talking about that, Raven. We'll get to you. You're in the comments. Fuck it. We'll do it now. I still think writing Kang out instead of recast and say someone like Denzel is wrong. I mean, just write him out and bring him back as Denzel, or use Kang as multiple man. Blow his butt up left. Yes, but we're gonna get to it. We're going to get to the big news of the weekend, but yeah, Kang's gone. It's over, which is terrible because, that actor did a bad thing. We don't like violence, and we especially don't like violence towards women or other people that you're intimate with. So cut the shit out everywhere, everyone. And, they redid their plans. It'll be an interesting discussion going forward if that particular crisis helped the MCU or hurt the MCU more. Mm-hmm. That will be a big kind of like the ramifications of that incident are going to reverberate for years in Cineplexes.
Yes,
for years.
And just to circle back to Doctor Who for a second, they did release a trailer for the Christmas special, which looks great. I'm excited, or like the first couple of minutes of footage. It might not be an actual Christmas trailer, but it looked a lot of fun. I'm excited for it. And we'll see that. I would not be surprised if the Doctor Who folks showed up in New York at New York Comic Con in October to kind of further promote that.
Okay, so that's your first pick. I am going to pick something that is much closer in reality to what's happening. Also, DC did not have a big presence. They did sell shirts and merchandise. But I will say this is my favorite picture coming out of Comic-Con as we prepare in, I think, 3 short days, actually, for a little show called Batman the Cape Crusader, which is premiering on Amazon on August 1st. This is my favorite, most interesting picture out of Comic-Con for me. because I am a
Mhm.
huge fan of this character and I love the idea. So that's, if you don't know, first off, the animation is spectacular. That is the new Penguin for this generation, for this show. And what's
Mhm.
interesting here is not only is it a blowhard kind of rich kid trying to get into Gotham's elite circles and whatnot, but they have gender swapped the Penguin with one of my all-time favorite actresses playing the Penguin. Minnie Driver was announced at Comic-Con as the Penguin for this new Cape Crusader show that is produced by by Bruce Timm, and it's Bruce Timm, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And I am so excited for the show, Rich.
Oh,
That
same
this
here.
I think first off, the Batman the animated series, any great Batman stuff that we have in our world, be it the Arkham games or the Pattinson Batman or any of the good Batman movies we've had, Batman the animated series helped give us something from it. So I Batman the animated series I've been watching read through with my nephews. The shows are cool. They're so I remember watching them as a kid, but now as I'm older, not as a kid, but like a teenager, now as I'm older, like the writing is crisp. It's it gets everything right. Batman is interesting. The villains are interesting. They all have huge plot points. The Mr. Freeze fucking episode was it was a two-parter. It blew me. It blows you away. It's fucking
Mhm.
phenomenal. And I'm just hoping that with this new Batman show, a next generation of kids will get to see something that's great, that's fun, and mature, and all of those things that make Batman great. And I am also going to tell you right now, you better get to My Adventures with Superman. I'm telling you,
I know, I know, I know.
it just ended its second season.
I I have a number of people who've been
it has become
all over my name about it.
my second favorite version of the Man of Steel ever. Christopher Reeve, may he rest in peace, will always be my Superman. But Jack Quaid as the man as Clark Kent and Superman is inching his way up the charts. Just the way they've done the character, and also the revamps on all of the villains that they've introduced. Anyway, but this Cape
Hmm.
Crusader, I think this is a brilliant thing because they're putting this penguin in the 30s, Rich. So not only is she going to be a girl who's trying to break into the elites, but she's going to be a girl trying to break into a patriarchy of Gotham,
And
and it could
and
be really interesting.
I really like that because I mean, leaning into the noir aspects of Batman, whenever you have a female villain, especially when you're dealing with more street crime, milieu things, um, that character is almost invariably a very sleek and slender and sexy femme fatale
She
type.
looks chunky as hell. It's amazing. I can't
That's
wait.
what's great. I love that they're not going for that. I think trying to do a like sexy version of the Penguin would be like antithetical to a whole lot of things. So
Weird.
I like the fact, yeah, it would just be weird.
Weird.
Um, somebody,
Weird's a word we're
sexy
using a
woman, but
lot
still
these
having that
days.
weird long penguin
Weird.
nose.
Weird.
Um, but I like this idea. Um, oh my god, I just made a weird connection. Um, I almost want to picture her as um you're the second I say the title of this movie,
Ethel Merman.
no,
He looks a
even
little
better.
Ethel Merman-ish.
A little. But here's what it's just suddenly I realized what it reminded me of. And the second I say the name of this movie, you're gonna laugh yourself silly. The Dan Aykroyd film Dr. Detroit,
Yes.
the
Oh.
with the female
Yes.
mobster, the
Oh my
female
God.
mobster
Yeah.
mom.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Boom. That's it. Yeah.
Oh my God. That is it. That's true. Bring more Bridgerton fans to Doctor Who. Laughing my ass off. Mini
Yes.
Driver's going to be great. DC has always done animation well. Yeah, but Bruce Timm is special. He's All I know is a plus size gal. I just got a new character to cosplay. Heck yeah. Yes, and that's the thing. Like, representation is so important. So that was one of my favorite stories. What's your next thing? Because we're cruising to 46 minutes here, Rich. Let's go. We got to do mic drops.
Star Trek.
Yes.
Star Trek dropped a lot of news this week. They dropped the 5th season trailer for my beloved Lower Decks.
Great show. Fantastic show. Best show of either Star Trek episode in the last 10 years was Lower Decks on the new Star Trek show when they crossed over in real life. It was fantastic.
Oh God, yeah, it was hilarious.
It's such a good episode.
We're going to talk more about Tawny Newsome in a moment. And they dropped like a short sequence from Strange New Worlds, which
best Star Trek show by far in the last generation of Star Trek shows. Yeah. Not even close. It's not even close.
Have you seen the clip that they showed? Because Paramount put their shit online.
Yeah,
we're gonna get to that in a moment.
I don't understand what the buzz you get not to put your stuff out for people to get, so that people can just copy it and just spread it out like the virus it is.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
But it involved some of the crew having to take this medical injection that was going to make them look like Vulcans because they had to go infiltrate someplace as Vulcans. And it's already caused a bit of a controversy online with people going, well, wait, why are they acting like Vulcans? Because don't Vulcans actually have to train themselves and learn how to, be emotionless and stuff like that? And I think that it's kind of interesting. I mean, there's some points, but again, this is an episode that's kind of like, or a moment that's taken out of context of the fuller episode. So I'd rather see the full episode before I make a comment.
Let me pray that Star Trek fans do not become the new Star Wars fans. Like, let me pray now, because I think, one of our abject failures as fandoms right now, Star Wars fans have become very I'm going to use the word obtuse from the Shawshank Redemption, right? They've become obtuse to anything new or anything changing, anything like it's gotten old. I hope Star Trek fans are, I hope Star Trek fans are as open to whatever new things are coming and allowing, because I did speak, like, every once in a while I have a conversation with somebody about pop culture, and they're like, oh, I don't watch that Star Trek show, it's woke. And it's like, Star Trek's been woke since the 60s.
1966, yes.
Yeah, it's been woke since the day it premiered. Like, there was a black woman on the deck. There was an African-American actress.
She was fourth in command, technically.
Yes, it's been woke forever. Like, what are you talking about? Roddenberry wanted utopia.
That's kind of besides the point, though. I don't want to get hung up on the
I'm sorry.
Right now.
Finish your Star Trek.
I mean, it's an interesting discussion to have, and I have faith, though, that the Strange New Worlds people have been pretty good with what they've been doing so far.
Very creative.
I don't think that you would make something that big and obvious of a misstep. But again, it was kind of exciting. And then they had trailer release for the upcoming TV movie that's going to be on Paramount Plus called Section 31.
Yep.
Which is going to star Michelle Yeoh.
Yep.
That looks like it could be fun. That's spinning out more out of Discovery than anything else, in this new era.
And also everybody should know that, like, it is a completely an untaken care of aspect of Star Trek society, that there is a super secret service kind of Star Trek, any great, government would have them. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know how secret it is because everybody seems to know about it. But
that's you get the idea. The idea it's like,
no, I like the idea that a federation.
It's something that hasn't been done. It's something that hasn't been done.
Ideals still needs that dirty tricks department to take care of some shit.
Yes.
Makes for interesting moral quandaries. How much they go into that in this, we'll see. But the groundwork
Prime
is
Directive
there.
might be a bitch on something like that. Prime Directive might be rough.
Yeah. So Paramount released all 3 of those online for people to see, and I see in the comments that Ken posted them earlier in the. I'm guessing that's the Loud Nerdy group.
Yeah, he did. Ken is amazing.
Ken's on the ball. Thank you very much.
He's of course Canadian, and we love him.
The last thing they announced, or there was two other things they announced really quickly. One, the in development. Well, actually, it starts shooting, or it might have just started shooting. New series Starfleet Academy. They added Robert Picardo from Voyager onto the cast as the emergency hologram doctor.
Excellent.
Whether it's the same one from Discovery or from Voyager, and he still has all his memories and hopefully maybe finally gave himself a name, remains to be seen. I would like to think so. That would be interesting because then you basically have a 1,000-year-old character.
That would be super cool. So couple comments. Advice needed. As animation, not much of a Trek fan. Is Lower Decks accessible to a new redshirt? Yes. But I will say the jokes might not land 100% cleanly for you. Unless, like, if you have any kind of a modest knowledge of Star Trek, the jokes will land flush. They will hit you in the chin.
I think it is very carefully structured for newbies, and then there's that extra onion layer underneath of, I don't know what that. They're referencing a thing, but the joke still works even if you don't know exactly what that reference means.
But it'll be specific if you know what dilithium crystals are.
Yeah,
that's the best way to say it. Let's see. I posted trailers for the group earlier and Star Trek trailers in it. Thank you, Ken. Laughing woke. Sci-fi is woke. Yes, but people are dumb, Raven. I don't know if you know this. We've had a collective IQ drop in the last 10 years. Ken is fantastic. He is great.
More love Ken.
Modest, not super fan, like I am Doctor Who. Fair. No. But it's accessible. Good jokes.
Yeah. Now, what's really amazing is Tawny Newsome is one of the voice actors on Lower Decks. She plays Beckett Mariner, or Mariner Beckett, excuse me. And
great character.
She's funny. She's an Second City alum out of Chicago.
It's a good Second City unit to be to have any kind of like.
And she impressed Alex Kurtzman enough to get a staff job writing Starfleet Academy. And her work writing there also impressed Kurtzman enough that she and another writer are developing a pitch or developing another Star Trek project, which doesn't have a name yet. There's not a whole lot of information about it outside of what they said, that it was going to be like a live action comedy. Some people have said, "Oh my God, a Star Trek sitcom? That sounds awful." That's not what they said, and those people need to pull the wax out of their ears and pay attention more, rather than just half listen to something and then make some angry YouTube comments or YouTube videos.
God fans are terrible. Anyway,
I know. And these are people. Also, these are YouTubers with big freaking audience numbers too. And I look at that, and I'm like, dude, you were absolutely misrepresenting what was said.
But also, I would also say to them, some of the best Star Trek episodes, an hour episode can sometimes devolve into a situational comedy. So, like, some of the best Star Trek episodes have that quality to them. So it's not it's not unfounded. Also, for Raven, I would also say Strange New Worlds is a wonderful way to jump into Trek right now at this moment. It is well written.
Yes.
It is amazingly done, and it has the vibe and energy of the original Star Trek that is very rarely.
Yeah. The original Star Trek was incredibly malleable in terms of tone. It could do a comedy like The Trouble with Tribbles, and then turn around and do like basically a tense
the Theolian
submarine
Web. Let's
thriller.
be nerdy. The Theolian Web, a very
Yes.
dark episode.
I was going to say the Enterprise incident, something like
or
that.
or yesterday's Enterprise, or
Yeah.
a lot of dark episodes of Star Trek.
Novels. My favorite Star Trek novel was written by a guy by the name of John M. Ford, and it was called How Much for Just a Planet? And it basically ends with the crew of the Enterprise getting into a pie fight with Klingons. Let me say that again.
Amazing. Pie
the crew of the
Enterprise
gets into a pie fight with Klingons.
No,
and it's hilarious. It's wonderful. It's out of print, unfortunately.
So now you said you have an amazing crossover to get to something, because we're coming up on an hour, so I need to we need to start getting a bigger thing.
Yes, well, Paramount did a wonderful job of releasing all its footage, and I think even though there
should be
the wasn't as big as what Marvel did, I think Paramount did the better job of at least sharing their news and creating a certain amount of buzz within the Star Trek community than I think Marvel did, because they hoarded all that material. And at best, I saw some of the that Fantastic Four footage on a shaky hand cam, phone cam thing from the middle of the auditorium.
Speaking of sharing knowledge and getting things out there, I want to remind everybody that we have a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to on the India Escape Network. That was amazing, right? Also, we have a Facebook channel. If you like our content, please like or do something. Subscribe to everything like Raven does. We appreciate her to no end.
Yes.
Okay.
But Marvel.
You got 3 minutes to get your inner Gandalf out. Go.
Lord of the Rings release.
You know I'm not thrilled with the show. I think the show it's okay, but it's not great, and it needs to be great. But there you go. Talk.
Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power from Amazon released its season 2 trailer. Looks like things are starting to heat up there in the Second Age of Middle Earth. We're seeing more villainous monsters. We see a Balrog in here. We see a giant spider, which the producers then, confirmed was Shelob during the panel. We see armies of orcs. We're getting to see some Ents. Yay! Tom Bombadil is showing up. We see more of our, all of our favorite characters, and things are getting a little bit tenser. It looks like, I believe we were seeing some of the Siege of Eriador, which is an elf kingdom in there. And I'm excited to see how they continue to work within the broad strokes of what Tolkien laid out for the Second Age, while still making stories of their own that work within all of that.
I think the show looks like $100 million. It looks amazing. I think it has some narrative structure that's a little bit wonky at times. I will watch the second season because I watched the first season.
Yeah.
I'm
hoping that we are seeing a step up. That first season, they probably did learn a lot. So we'll see.
Spend a ton of money. I think they can do it. They finally got to the point where, we found out, who the guy that fell from the sky was and everything. Like, they kind of kept their oars in the water and they churned through it. And I'm hoping that maybe a second year, in Tolkien world gives them a way. And I think part of the issue, and this is something we as fans we have to talk about, Jackson did so well with the material that we have the adaptation aspects of the material. For example, Tom Bombadil showing up. I am one of the people, having read Tolkien books one or two, who think he's unfilmable. I think there's a potential there where you go, where an audience goes, "Oh, that fucking guy again, that fucking guy." Like, just
well,
I hope
I
I'm
was
wrong.
in the books. I was never a big fan of Tom Bombadil. I understand how in the novel structure the character is there to say there are also good powers that are ancient within this world, because the ring doesn't affect him at all, but he also kind of nopes out on like, I can't take it, sorry guys. And I think that narratively in a movie doesn't quite work, because it's like, why did we just spend 10 minutes
because it's like, okay, so I can
hippy dippy
yes,
wife having a tea party if he's not going to be any help? So I can see why both radio versions and the animated version and Jackson's film all, kicked him off to the side.
Right off the side. Okay.
But if they're going to do something new and different with him now, I'm all for it. Let's see. I'm excited to see what they
like
do.
I said, I think it's a steep learning curve. I hope they figure their way around, and they do a good job with it. Okay, we've come to the hour mark. It is about time to talk about Marvel and their Hall H and their everything. What was you said you had a segue. What was your segue?
Oh, my segue was, Star Trek, was very kind and said, here are the things
all
that
the
we
stuff.
showed people.
Right. Okay.
All the stuff.
No, I understand. I'm sorry. I thought it was something as clever as what I did with the Facebook and the YouTube thing. Okay.
No, it's not clever.
No, not clever. Just why are you hiding your shit? You got all this good stuff. Release it.
Yeah, did Marvel make a mistake with that? Because we don't really have any buzz about Thunderbolts out of this thing, except where a couple of people from the crowd filmed Harbor coming down in the Red Guardian costume and yelling at the rest of the cast, going, "I thought we were going to dress up," which was funny. You get a couple of. Yeah, let's go through this first.
Comments. Some of the best Trek was with Q. I agree. Q, great villain / non-villain by the end. Some of the best. Cut him out. Suddenly feels like Uncle Joey. D23, gonna be huge. But Marvel had a big weekend in the box office. Had a big weekend in Hall H. Where you want to start? Let's start with the movies with low expectations. Let's do that.
Let's go right through the order that they did things in.
Did they do? Okay, I don't know the order they did things. I've just been watching clips all weekend.
They started with Captain America: Brave New World.
Okay, so right there, we got a shield. It's being held by a Hulk hand. It's red. Again, the only super excited thing I am about this is I will have a Hulk figure that looks like Harrison Ford. I am super excited about that. But they also we finally figured out this guy, Giancarlo Esposito, has been milling about the MCU on the fringes, and they, the new trailers kind of shown him doing some things. They announced who he is as a villain, and I'm going to tell you, Sidewinder's a good villain, but I am immediately disappointed that he is not in the running for Charles Xavier. I thought we were really gonna push the casting color choices, and I'm super not excited that he's not Charles Xavier, but I think he'll do a great job. This movie, I think, is one of those movies that could underperform. And by underperform, I mean gross $500 million. That's the joke, right? The joke is, oh, this movie's going to underperform. Yeah, it only grossed $500 million.
But when your costs are anywhere between around $250 million to $300, depending on how much the reshoots and everything cost, that could be a problem.
That could be a problem. But Harrison Ford showing up at Hall H for this movie, and there was some excitement.
More fun than he does for a Star Wars panel.
Yeah, you know what? Well, I think he's starting to have more fun in general because of. I think it's now it's whenever he does show up, it's such an important moment. And the thing is, you and I have had this conversation offline. I'll have it with you right now. The day we lose Harrison Ford is a day I will be sad for days.
Oh God,
I will be a fucking mess for
the
days.
the first person I'm going to call is your wife to make sure she's going to be
That I'm
okay.
okay. Yeah. So now that he's getting all these gravy parts and he's doing like things for fun and having a blast, and he's not tied to Han Solo and he's not tied to Indiana Jones anymore, and he appears to be having a blast. Like he's on the show with, on the shrinking. You know what I mean? Like that show was so good and he was so good on it. You know what I mean? Like I just want him. I just want him to have a blast. Yeah, just fucking go out, make 1 or 2 movies, maybe get an Oscar movie here or there with a shot. And so when he shows up at these things and he's fucking having a blast and laughing, Rich, he's done 100 Star Wars panels. I've never seen him as happy as he was at this panel.
Oh, I know.
I've never seen anything like it. So, a couple comments. Let's see. Comments. I think Giancarlo Esposito is a great add-on to the MCU. So
yes.
So I'm a wrestling fan, as everybody knows. So Seth Rollins is also in this movie. Although the movie is getting a little bit of controversy because we should talk about that for a moment. A little bit of controversy because one of the characters is an Israeli assassin, which isn't necessarily the best character to have with what's going on in the Middle East. So fuck. Harrison Ford hulking out still looks amazing. Yes, looks incredible. Dude, if you're Seth Rollins, you're pissed. Yeah, well, yeah, but Seth can't go. He's got SummerSlam. I want him as Bolazar Trask. Fair. And they'll blame it on Black Cap again. Sam is amazing. I don't think they will. I think part of the reason they're coming out in February, and somebody said that, like, again, a friend of the network said it's being released in February because that's a drag month. And I'm like, February is Black History Month, and we have a Black Captain America. Also, February 13th is that weekend is a great movie going weekend. Woke Marvel argument again. Yeah, stupid. And then I'm not thrilled with his casting, honestly. Sorry, not sorry, JW. Okay. He's supposed to be fully cut out, Seth, that is. Ooh, interesting. That'll be interesting if that happens. Because Seth's playing, I think he's playing one of the snake cult.
Serpent Society.
Serpent Society. I couldn't think of it. Snake cult works. We're in a cult. But this movie I think has low expectations. So if it ends up falling out, like, I know this is gonna sound like me because I'm wearing the guy on my fucking shirt. But if somehow we get there to February, and fucking Harrison Ford is amazing, we look up and all of a sudden, like, he's dominating playing Thunderbolt Ross, and he's also dominating playing the Red Hulk. Maybe it does better than we think it's going to do. I don't know.
I would hope. I mean, I like the Sam Wilson character. I like the journey that he went through on the Falcon.
I think the show is great. The show was fantastic. Underrated Marvel.
I mean, the show was a little compromised, I think, because originally the terrorist plot was going to involve unleashing a virus, and then suddenly COVID happened. So they're like, well, maybe we should rearrange this a little bit.
Having an impact on things. What do you want to talk about next?
And again, as you said, real life having an impact on the character of was it Sabra, who in regular Marvel Comics lore is an Israeli themed superhero. She's from Israel. Right now, that's kind of a touchy proposition with many people. Marvel likes to shy away from controversy whenever they can. Because
maybe
they don't
by the time we get there, God willing, we will have some sort of compromise or peace pact in place in the Middle East by the time we get there. What's next? What do you want to go to next? Your turn.
So after that was the Fantastic Four cast coming out.
Oh my God, Rich! I'm so excited. Ready?
Yeah.
Rich! Look at how cool this looks. This is amazing. I'm so excited.
And they start shooting tomorrow.
Yeah. I am so excited about the concept. I have been eating up the like, look at how great everything looks thus far.
Yeah,
And what I
this.
would say is, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was asking, is this all fan art right now? Because I don't think I saw too much.
These were things not fan art. I think this was something. Oh shit! I have that one thing. Where did I put it? Hold on. There wasn't some. This was what was part of the display,
Yeah,
right?
they did show a little like sizzle reel teaser thing that they said isn't part of the actual movie, but just kind of like setting
Hold
the
on.
stage of the
I said
Fantastic Four taking place in a retro
that was
60s.
part of the ticket that they gave out to people. Hold on. I have a
Oh,
picture of it.
okay.
That I know I have. Hold on. Give me a second. And it kind of like, I am loving the idea of just the idea that the concept behind this movie is 60s different world kind of vibe, right? The idea that um this is a different Marvel universe than we've ever experienced.
Well,
This was handed out at the Marvel H event, for the Hall H event, I should say. But this map now, what should be most, you don't think anything of this map until you start looking at it. So first, there's the Baxter Building with a really cool, sleek 60s design rocket. Watching a lot of Twilight Zone from the 60s. That is an exact rocket from the Twilight Zone. And what you don't see around on this picture of New York in this alternate Earth is there's three markers on the map that say subterranean entrance.
subway entrance. Those are
No,
subways.
no,
Yes. Yes.
no, no.
Okay,
Maybe
then what
subway.
are they?
I am telling you, there's subterranean entrances.
I will bet you $5.
Oh, this would be interesting. Wouldn't there be more? Wait a second, Rich. Wouldn't there be more subway entrances?
On the Upper West Side, not really. They all take taxis everywhere.
I think that's going to be. I think Mole Man's going to be a villain. I don't know if he's going to be in the entire movie, but he's definitely going to be a villain in this movie.
We'll see. We'll see. I love.
Well, we know this. We know this guy's a villain. Hold on. This is something that was
wait. Go back. Go back. Go back.
What?
You missed something. I can't believe you missed something.
What did I
You
miss?
and your Mole Man nonsense.
ahead.
What's the name of that spaceship? What's the name of the rocket?
No, I understand the name of the spaceship.
Baby.
I'm not even calling it out because it's amazing.
Yes.
I don't need to call it out. I'm that much of a nerd. I think we have to bet $5. No, not 5. We'll do the trading places bet. It's got to be the trading places bet. $1.
Okay.
If that I'm wrong. I think there's not enough subway entrances there. There's only 3. I think it might be subterranean. I think it has something to do with Moment. But that's just my opinion. Okay. Here's another thing that was shown, and apparently we are going to upgrade from a giant farty cloud in the sky. And this was shown at the panel.
Yes, this was part of the sizzle reel.
That is the World Eater. That is Galactus in his giant headed glory. I don't know that you could get any more excited about this movie, right? Let's see, comment. Go ahead.
Again, this is something that they should have released because it kicks out the 60s future retroism, which is not a new idea for a Fantastic Four movie. I know Tim Story, who went on to direct Fantastic Four and Rise of the Silver Surfer in the early aughts.
He wanted to do it the whole time, but Fox wouldn't let him
do it. Yeah,
Fox wouldn't let him. Fox no, it's got to be new.
Yeah, and there was some like production artwork that leaked out at one point, and it looked really good. And I was just
stupid Fox. It's like
yeah.
they're no longer in the Marvel business, and we don't have
I
a
wonder
movie or
why
something
that
celebrating it this weekend. I'm loving the alt world retro look. Yes, Raven, that is amazing. Marvel's handing out that it's like Baxter Foundation kinds, like how they did marketing for Loki, and the TVA marketing they did. Yes, this movie, Rich, is one of the Marvel movies that cannot fail. Like, it's whatever they do, they have to get this movie right. Right?
Yes. It's the first film of Phase 6, which is basically your third act of this whole multiverse saga. It's going to lead into Doomsday and then ultimately Secret Wars. And you got to make sure.
Definitely in it. I think he's John Malkovich. It's not John Malkovich. It's Paul Hauser, what the kid from the Clint Eastwood Richard movie. Fuck, what is wrong with me tonight?
He's from I, Tonya.
Not I, Tonya.
Yeah, he was in I, Tonya. He was also in the Richard Jewell movie.
Yeah, yes. Richard Jewell. But yeah, he's playing Mole Man. That's the rumor. He has cast, but he's not. Rumor. That's the rumor. Don't believe rumors right now. Future Foundation, yes. I can't wait to see. Eat a damn. Yes, Galactus. I think, yeah, Galactus. Galactus, eat a damn world. Yum, yum, yum. Should we kill Aunt May? She can't make him pancakes to satisfy him now. Well done, Raven. That's a deep cut. But yeah.
Marvel team up during Assistant Editors Month when Aunt May became a herald of Galactus for an issue.
It's a very deep cut by Raven. Raven is amazing. I
have that though. I love that issue. It's hilarious.
But yeah, so I think this is the one Marvel movie in the pipeline that they have to nail. They have to nail it so far out of the park that people come out of that movie and it's $1 billion movie and they're as happy as they were during Deadpool and Wolverine. Right? That's the next. Fantastic Four is the next big Marvel movie. Right? Mm-hmm. It's going to happen in a summer, by the way. It's going to happen in a summer where we're getting a new Superman movie. So what a goddamn war that's going to be. But I think we can coexist.
Good. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Yes, they only need to get things right. So you speak of this Doomsday. You speak of.
Oh yeah.
I had not known anything about this Doomsday because I had heard the 5th Avengers movie was going to be called the Kang Dynasty, but as we now know, that's gone. Avengers Doomsday is May 2026. And there was first off, and I know everybody is excited about the casting, but the key to this fucking event and the key to the questions and answers and anything is that the first thing was introduced before these 2 Avengers movies. First people out in the stage to talk about things were the Russo brothers. Now, I don't know if you know anything, but the Russo brothers are responsible for some of the greatest Marvel movies ever. And they've been like, they not only are they responsible for one of my personal favorites, which is Captain America Winter Soldier, right? Infinity War, Endgame, they are superior Marvel professionals. They are people that can work in the universe. They are people that they know it back and forth.
On their own, their results have not been so great. Yumi, Dupree, Cherry, the Gray Man. Their solo stuff has not been very exciting. Their stuff outside of Marvel and before, and also including their stuff on Community. Their Community stuff was good, but they're working within a structure where they're managing the production of the thing. They're not the primary storytellers. Marvel Studios, the primary storyteller is Kevin Feige, kind of signing off on what the shape of the thing is going to be.
I just think they are heavy hitters within the Marvel universe.
Yeah, but
you look at their Marvel,
how to manage that process and get the product done. And that's, I think, what we need right now is somebody to do that. I mean, I love having filmmakers who come in and put their own personal spin on things, like Sam Raimi with Doctor Strange, like we saw with Black Panther and one or two other things. But for these bigger monstrosities, we definitely need these guys, because these are the films that don't necessarily demand a director's personal spin. They need somebody who can manage the monstrous size
that
of
can
these
steer
things.
the ship. They can steer the ship. And
Yes.
so they're doing Marvel Doomsday, or Avengers Doomsday, which is May 2026. And they also made an announcement that they're doing the next Avengers movie, which I think is 2027, 2028,
Yes.
somewhere around there.
2027.
2027. And so they're, first off, they're I'm sorry, we didn't have a big movie in May this year. We're gonna fix that. Don't worry, everything's fine. We're gonna fix May again. And so they're doing Secret Wars. Secret Wars, for anybody who's watching the show and hasn't read it or looked at it or understand what it is one of the single coolest and most amazing Marvel stories ever. Like, it's high on the list. It's big. How they're going to shape it is fine. But that wasn't the mic drop, Rich. Not the Russo brothers coming back and all that other stuff. This right here was the mic drop.
Who is playing? Oh, yes, that's right.
No, I'm sorry. This is the mic drop.
Beloved
I'm
Marvel
sorry.
character.
Robert Downey Jr. coming back as a character. I'm sorry. This is a joke.
A beloved Marvel character. Wait, no.
He's not coming back as T'Challa. I just wanted to get a funny out there before we talk about the serious business transaction that went on in Hall H. And that serious business transaction, where the fuck did it go? Oh, it's right there. Okay. So they marched out a series of people dressed in Doom outfits. And at the end of the presentation, the Russos said, we need an actor that knows how to do Marvel. We need an actor that's the greatest actor of his generation. And we need an actor that understands the universe. And they announced that that Robert Downey Jr. is playing Marvel Victor Von Doom for Doomsday and for Secret Wars. So he's going to be at it, the primary catalyst of those particular two movies. And so I want to talk. First off, I want to set forth that Bill Gadavakis at FilmBuff Online and I had a really interesting conversation, and also I want to compliment him on his really interesting point. And I also want to say I think it's going to be whatever the opposite is. So he made a point to me that I don't want Tony Stark being evil. I don't want the Victor Von Doom performance to be Robert Downey Jr. playing an evil Tony Stark. It needs to be its own performance. And my response to him, there were a couple people in the chat that were kind of going around it. And I think my reaction to this is that it's not going to be. I don't think Robert Downey Jr. would sign on to this with all the cachet and all the importance and all of the things he means to the Marvel universe. I don't think he would sign on if it was just going to be schlocky, evil Tony, right? I don't think it is. I think it's going to be a totally different interpretation of the character. I think it's going to be totally different from his Tony Stark. And the thing is, Robert Downey Jr. is a gifted actor, and I think he can pull it off. Also, I think one of the things we're not thinking about, and this is what I was alluding to earlier in the show, it's not about us as humans going to see an Avengers movie knowing that Robert Downey Jr. has played Tony Stark. It is about us watching the characters who know Tony Stark reacting to somebody who is not Tony Stark that looks exactly like Tony Stark.
Yes.
And I think that's what you get in this choice.
Peter Parker, for instance, is going to go, wait, what? And that's going to cause some very deep conflict within him. It's like, this looks like the guy who was like a second dad to me for a short while, who I miss receiving his wisdom and his kidding and everything. And
yes, that's going to be a problem. Also,
him in the face.
You can't tell me that if Robert Downey Jr. is playing Victor Von Doom, you cannot tell me that this Victor Von Doom is not going to know he looks exactly like Tony Stark. I just think it's one of those things where the initial reaction is, he's played Tony. I don't know that I can deal with it, right? That's the initial reaction. I don't know how I feel. I think he would not come back if it wasn't set. And somebody, my good friend, Montserrat Nieves, just a good friend, writes plays, is amazing. He's just somebody I went to the University of Scranton with. He had an amazing thing. He goes, I may not trust the filmmakers and I may not trust the writers, but goddamn, Robert Downey Jr. knows what he's doing. And you have to have trust in Robert Downey Jr. at this moment.
That's fair. I mean, again, I'm always let's see how this actually shakes out before we decide it's a terrible idea or if it was a great idea. Everything's execution dependable here. And I mean, it was a fun way that they
it was a great reveal. I'll tell you what.
There was a bit of a rumor going around for several months that he was going to be coming back in some form or another. There was also the other rumor that they're going to switch out Kang for Doom in Avengers 5. And I don't think anybody really tied those two together that I saw, but then again I try to stay out of the deep rumor well, because that way lies madness normally.
The deep rumor well gets you to hate things that you should love. The deep rumor well is a way we ruin things for ourselves and set expectations so high. Like I was saying,
telling me that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be fired in the next 2 weeks for the last 5 years.
Well, my thing is when you go into the deep rumor well, your expectations ruin everything. So when we talked about Deadpool and Wolverine, going back to that subject really quick, I told you after you had seen it, and I hadn't seen it yet, I told you that my expectations offline, not on film or anywhere where we can be called out on it. I told you, and you can say I'm lying. I told you my expectations were specifically, I want a send-off to the Fox Marvel universe.
Yes.
If I get that, and it's substantial, and it's what I want, and it's everything I need to make amends that I don't have a conceivable Nightcrawler in my universe, I will be fine. And the movie did that in spades. So I didn't have, I didn't want to see, a new Fantastic Four or the new X-Men or any of those things. I didn't want any of that. I just wanted a fitting conclusion to a universe that was mildly successful, that I happen to really like. You know what I mean? And I think that's the best way to play Marvel going forward. Yeah. The expectations we set up for ourselves in our head for our fantasy world they're soul crushing when you get somewhere and they don't come true. Like, the Acolyte or any of these shows or things we watch. Mm-hmm. You can really destroy it and destroy your love of something just by jumping down the rumor well.
Look, I've been saying this since at least Lost, where the show didn't end the way my particular fan theory in my head had figured it was going to end, so therefore the ending sucks. You can make an argument about the quality of the ending outside of that, but I think a good amount of kvetching about how Lost ended was because people were too invested in the mystery box aspect than they were in the characters' journeys.
Yeah, that became a MacGuffin show. What's the MacGuffin? Yeah. What's the MacGuffin in this week? Is it a smoke monster? Is it a guy in a submarine? Is it, all these different things? And when nothing could live up to the expectations, it crushed itself. And I think that's what is starting to happen with Star Wars and Marvel and all these things we love. Just fucking sit back and see if the story works. And try the expectations you should have we should have like a fans bill of rights. The expectations you have should be reasonable. They shouldn't be, I've talked about it a lot on Loud Nerdy. I've talked about it a lot. My former co-hosting partner and I would talk and talk and talk about WandaVision, and he would, would sit and he would look and he would be like, he'd look at a mirror fragment that happened in episode 6, and oh my God, it's Mephisto. And then it's not Mephisto. And then he, and I would say to him, did you enjoy the episode Homage to the Brady Bunch? I was looking for Mephisto. You ruined the show for yourself, and you didn't even see the genius of the show, and it was right there in front of you that they were perfectly recreating decades of television in front of you every episode. Yes, it was about Scarlet Witch and Vision and their kids, but it was more about the idea of the love of television fused with this really amazing story about heartache, suffering, and loss.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So just stop with the expectations.
Yeah. I mean,
comments before we go on. Hold on.
Okay.
We got huge comments. Hold on. Let's see. But swore Malkovich was casted too. If I set up, can we invite Mick Strong, set designer Morgan Corman's Fantastic Four for a Fantastic Four special? I have to rewatch the documentary. I had no idea Rich Drees was in the doc. What documentary is that, Rich Drees?
That would be the documentary by our friend Marty Langford.
Joe, Rich might be able to call in and chip here. We might be able to get Marty on the show as well.
I could reach out. I don't want to do a production meeting live on the air, but yeah.
But that can happen.
But I do want to. I was not in the doc. I was filmed for the documentary, and I was in a number of edits of the documentary. But as they got more and more people who are actually involved in the production of the Roger Corman produced Fantastic Four, the whole documentary kind of shifted from it being about how fans were looking at this movie to what actually happened with the movie, because that, frankly, is the better document. You're actually, charting everything, that story that really hadn't been told, but you were getting the people so you could tell that story, which is great. Marty kind of kept me up to date, and he was like, dude, I'm sorry, it just kind of changed, and I was perfectly fine with that, because I think the documentary that we get is amazing. I am thanked in the special thanks thing in the credits, and during, I think, one of the rounds of fundraising for post-production, they used a clip of my interview. so I know that was at least at one point out there.
Okay. And the version of the doc I saw had you. So I don't know, maybe I saw an early version. Secret Wars Contest Champions were the bomb. Let's see what else. Raven writes, Raven's been on fire tonight. This is the last one, and we can get so annoyed people that are angry with RDJ casting when half of them wanted Superior Iron Man, who was a villain arc, was casting a man they were okay with being either RDJ or Tom Cruise, honestly. RDJ being cast adds so many different layers of storytelling and underlines the fact that the variants can look and be other characters than what they have already been inside in 616. I mean, when Spider-Man sees Iron Man and it's Doom, or heck, give me Pot seeing her husband.
Yeah,
Jesus
there we go.
Christ. Jesus Christ. Well, that's what I mean. I think part of it is we're looking past, like, the initial shock of it, right? Because, I mean, Victor Von Doom, done right, has been on the burner for some time.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea, like, I will be honest, if Robert Downey Jr. wasn't Iron Man, I think everybody would be going, oh my God, Robert Downey Jr. is going to kill it as Victor Von Doom. He's going to murder it. You know what I mean? But the initial shock is what the problem is. But I think expectations for Marvel are right now this weekend, as we finish up this episode, are, dare I say, sky high.
Yes, and as I'm looking here, I see that Variety in the last 15 minutes just posted a story saying that Marvel is paying the Russos about $80 million, I guess between the two of them, to come back to direct these two films. and Robert Downey Jr. is getting, quote, significantly more. I don't have time to kind of like, skim into the details here as to what their deal structures are or anything, but Marvel's not afraid to spend some money to hopefully make some money. So we will see. They're not half-assing it, at least.
Yeah, the article also has funny comments from people who've worked with him. Downey seems so fully out that as he announced his return on Instagram, no less than his on-screen romantic co-lead Gwyneth Paltrow comes in. I don't get it. Are you a baddie now? So yeah, I mean, also I know this is gonna shock people, but he's now an Oscar winner too. So price has definitely gone up for him. So I think that particular set of news, that was the mic drop moment. That also the way they did it was kind of great and cool and fun, with all the fucking fake dooms on stage, and then one true doom to rule them all, in parlance of Tolkien. So in summing up this episode, what we wanted to do on this episode was just talk about what the future holds for us in the movie industry, television, all the things that happened this particular weekend in 2024. The sky's the limit, and it's exciting and fun, and everybody's like, there was not a single soul that I have talked to or haven't said that have sent me messages, Rich. I don't know how many messages you got. I got so many fucking messages with so many questions. Like, well, how is this happening? Why is this happening? And it was all like, what I say to that is exactly what Marvel wanted.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing coming out of Comic-Con with all these announcements that we went over, some of them, right? The one announcement, forget about the Russos coming back. Forget about that. Like, they made some of the best Marvel movies. Nah, nobody cares. The only thing anybody's talking about is that Victor Von Doom is going to be played by Robert Downey Jr. And that's great news on a weekend when Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds knocked it out of the fucking park.
Yeah.
And the movie business is back and everybody's having a good time. And I look at the rest of the year, Rich. I was trying to go through the rest of the calendar. There are not a lot of open days, and there are some big heavy hitters for the rest of the year. All good news, all great news. Like movies have a chance to catch up this,
Yeah. To be honest, out of San Diego, the thing that I was surprised didn't happen wasn't in the Marvel panel or anything, but was actually Warner's did a panel for their animated Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim film that's coming out in December.
Yeah.
They showed some footage, but they didn't have a trailer, and they didn't release anything. They didn't even release any new art or anything like that out of the show. I was kind of surprised on that because I was thinking, we're 5 months away, and they're not doing any kind of
Warner's had an objectively
promotion outside of the fandom.
An objectively quiet Comic-Con. Really, really quiet Comic-Con. And I'm a little bit shocked at that because we won't have another Comic-Con before Superman opens. So I'm a little bit shocked that we didn't get anything except shirts. Just like it wouldn't. And the thing is,
I'm hoping that in October they might show up and have a little something at New York Comic Con. That would be great. But in terms of
by October, November, we should be getting a trailer. I would imagine that when Wicked opens,
I would think the first real trailer they're going to hold till the Super Bowl. Superman makes sense. I want to say I was very happy to see the old DC Bullet logo make a return for DC Studios as their old new logo or whatever.
Old is new. Everything old is new.
Over 80 years of DC Comics history, the Bullet logo lasted the longest, from like 1975 to 2006, I think it was. It was a good almost 30 years, and it's a classic for a reason. And I like that they said no. And for me, that's a golden age of DC storytelling, particularly Crisis on Infinite Earths, all the way up to maybe Final Crisis. That's like my key DC era. And
that's
the fact that they're tying into
era.
something really made me, I was like, yes, that feels good. That was another indication that Gunn and Safran are really
they get it.
Really,
they get it. They understand. Okay. So this is just our show, kind of looking at all these things. Where can people find stuff that you've written about, or where can they find you chit chatting on the Webernet?
Okay.
Talk to me, Rich.
All of my writing can be found at FILMBUFFonline.com, as well as the piece that we referenced a couple of times by my good friend Bill Gadavaskis,
fantastic
talking about
article.
His piece, his concerns about the casting of Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. That can be found at FILMBUFFonline.com. We also have a Facebook page that lets you know whenever we post new stories, as well as gives you little bits of film history trivia throughout your day for, you know, that day in film history, things like that. I can be found on the socials at FilmBuffRich on Twitter and on Blue Sky. I also participate in 2 other podcasts, but they're both kind of on hiatus right now. So when more stuff happens with that, I will let you know.
Okay. My stuff, like, I do a lot of, like, just kind of doinking around and having a good time. JW the Movie Guy on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. I have that name is mine everywhere. I am attainable.
That's branding, baby.
Yeah, it is branding. We also do this wonderful show with my 2 friends, Kyle DeFina and Jerry Kimura, called Loud and Nerdy on Tuesday nights. Jerry had a bit of an accident, so I just want to say get well soon. I hope you're there tomorrow night. If you're not, I understand.
Dude, I hear that, man.
Yeah, something happened. There was talk in the internet world today where, you know, Jerry fell and had an accident. We're a little bit concerned, you know, but not. I think he's okay. I think he's home. But I want to wish him the best. We do this show on Tuesday nights called Loud and Nerdy. It's live. It's interactive. We're definitely going to talk about this stuff again tomorrow night with a totally different aspect, because Kyle and Jerry have a different view than Rich and I. Rich and I are, you know, movie-based folk. We were raised in movie theaters. We lived in movie theaters. We did you know, Jerry and Kyle kind of sit back and go, hey, that might not work, or they might have a totally different view of what we're talking about tonight. But thank you for joining us. We will be back next week, and I promise we are going to get back with a shorter show and a filmiversary next week. We're definitely doing Night of the Comet. We have a couple things in the pipeline for the next couple weeks. All leading, we are going to do an episode of The Crow the week the new Crow opens. That is the big one for August, and we're super excited. But in the next couple of weeks, we're going to watch some movies that I think folks really love and have.
The Crow in
watched Crow in a long time. I feel it's one of those movies that's great and people love it, but it's also one of those movies that I get. For me, I saw him in a lot of movies, and I really enjoyed Brandon Lee. I don't know why Superman's on the brain. I really enjoyed him in a lot of movies, and it's one of those sad movies, like what could have been movies. You know what I mean? There are several of them, but his is one of the ones from the '90s that reverberates for me. So we're gonna do that movie the week the new Crow opens, and again, that is an expectation movie. Don't drag that movie early. Let's wait to see what happens, right? And
yeah,
we here, Generation Movie will be here when things happen. We will also be here talking about the amazing history of film and movies that we love from the amazing history of film. Thank you for joining us tonight. It was a special episode, something we haven't done on the show. Thanks for joining us. We'll see everybody next week. Night of the Comet.
If you liked it, maybe we'll do an all news roundup again in 6 months or something. You know.
Yeah, something.
Who knows? Or an preview episode or something like that.
We had a consistent level of people in the chat room tonight. So anyway, I'm just saying. But anyway, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see everybody next week from Night of the Comet, one of the great 80s underrated sci-fi comedy gems. And thank you for joining us tonight. Have a great night. And we'll see everybody tomorrow night on Loud Nerdy. Well, I will. Rich will be out. But have a good night. Bye. Hold on. I got to